The boy's bottom and face are on the same level. How will he go to the bathroom now? It turns out the boy was cheering for his teammates when he collided with a football player, and that's how the accident happened. An hour later, the firefighters finally arrived, but they had never seen anything like this before. They had to secure the boy and take him to the hospital, but as soon as he got in the ambulance, he passed out. Not only did he have external injuries, but he also had internal bleeding. If they couldn't stop the bleeding quickly, the boy might never wake up. In a critical moment, the man decided to use a balloon to stop the bleeding, but the ambulance was moving. Doing this kind of procedure on a 1-centimeter wound was really hard.
How'd that go for you?
50-50.
But to save the boy, the firefighters had to cooperate. The woman brought in an ultrasound machine to find the spot, and the firefighter driving slowed down in the shaking vehicle.
Okay, got it. Now here's the tricky part.
After securing the catheter, the man slowly inserted the balloon.
BP's back, and so is our boy!
The boy regained consciousness.
Dad?
Hearing Dad reminded the man of his own son.
Gonna be okay, kid.
Are you missing your dad? The man was frozen solid like a popsicle. The captain quickly started CPR, but with a crisp crack, the man's chest shattered. This unfortunate man had only been rescued a day earlier when he was trapped under a car, with his arm bone sticking out. Screaming in pain, the firefighters quickly anesthetized him and lifted the car to save his arm. However, the man was still determined to participate in an upcoming golf tournament. Ignoring his wife's objections, he went for a cryotherapy session.
And I hope you freeze to death.
When the firefighters arrived, the man had already been frozen for 34 minutes, and the door was locked. The woman said she had tried using a hairdryer to warm him up, but it didn't work. The firefighters quickly pried open the door. The captain knocked on the man's chest and found it surprisingly fragile. He attempted to perform CPR, but then this boy was completely encased in concrete. His hands shake like a leaf. He cried out, begging the doctors to save him. The doctor told him the several tons of concrete were squeezing all the moisture out of him. Keep crying. He'll turn into a raisin. The boy had no choice but to suck it up and hold back his tears. The doctors started tapping and chipping away at the concrete bit by bit. After 34 minutes, they were down to just one stubborn patch on his belly, but that piece was the most dangerous. Removing it could release toxins into his bloodstream and knock him out cold. Sure enough, the boy fainted right on the spot. Just then, a girl swooped in, claiming to be his girlfriend. It was her that made him jump into the concrete. She leaned down and gave him a kiss, and the boy woke up. The man is talking on the phone with his wife. Suddenly, a truck appears behind him, heading straight for him. Before he can even tell his wife he loves her, the truck crashes into the phone booth. Round and round it goes, until the man runs into a car and drives away to escape. Just when he thinks it's over, while waiting for a train to leave, the truck shows up again. It pushes him forward and tries to make him crash into the train. Luckily, the train leaves in time, and the man barely avoids disaster. The truck honks 3 times and then drives off. But as he drives downhill, he sees the truck waiting for him at the bottom. He tries to overtake it, but it blocks his way and fills the air with exhaust. He has no choice but to stop and wait. He hides in a corner, deciding to wait until he wakes up. 10 hours pass, and only when a train passes by does he wake up from the noise. He laughs to himself, thinking it's finally over. But up ahead, he sees the truck again. Isn't this a dream? To go viral on TikTok, the girl stuffed a harmonica in her mouth, but she didn't realize it was just like a light bulb. Easy to put in, hard to get out. When the firefighter asked her, she could only blow the harmonica in response. Even more ridiculous, her friend was translating for her.
How are you feeling?
She says it hurts like hell.
It's okay, we're gonna pack you up and take you to the hospital.
She wants to know if there's anything you can do here. We don't have insurance. We can't afford an ambulance or a hospital stay.
The firefighters immediately brought over some lubricant and pliers, preparing to forcibly remove the harmonica. Meanwhile, the girl's friend whipped out her phone to start a live stream, even with just 8 viewers. But the captain didn't stop her. It was a good lesson for the girl's fans, not to put random things in their mouths. After some effort, she successfully removed the harmonica, but the girl's face would still need some time to recover. A crowd gathered outside the operating room because today's patient is a panda. The panda had some heart problems. Not even regular vets wanted to treat it, and the heart surgery chief was unsure what to do. But the hospital said they had to save the panda, not just because the annual rental fee for pandas is a whopping $1 million, but also because people love giant pandas. If the Chicago hospital can save it, it would be great for their public relations and could bring in a lot of donations. The hospital director promised that once the donations came in, the heart surgery department would get priority. So, the doctors had no choice but to go ahead with the surgery. But during the operation, the panda's heart rate shot up, its blood pressure dropped quickly, and its heart stopped. The doctors had to give it electric shocks. After 2 rounds of shocks, the panda's heart rate came back, and the surgery continued. But the ultrasound showed there was fluid around the panda's heart. So, the doctors had to do a pericardiocentesis to drain it. Finally, the panda's blood pressure and heart rate returned to normal, and it woke up from its coma. But seriously, isn't this panda just a person in disguise? The landlord comes to collect the rent, but waiting for her is a surprise. Surprise. Baby. The woman hides in the bathroom, calling for help.
Is the attacker still there?
Yes, it's in the other room.
It?
Yeah, it's a tiger.
At the hospital, a man claims he was bitten by his pet, but the scratch marks look way too big for a regular pet. Eventually, after the police press him, the man reveals the truth, but the police is curious. How did he get such a big animal into his apartment? Turns out when he adopted it, the pet was only a few months old. He treated it like a cat, until recently when he realized it was a tiger. This guy is pretty confused. Meanwhile, the fire crew also arrives. The firefighter lowers himself from the roof.
Kitty.
The firefighter almost slips and falls. Luckily, his teammate is strong, and once he regains his balance, he aims for the tiger. But the landlord, losing too much blood, mistakes the tiger scratching the door for help. After successfully sedating the tiger, the firefighters finally get to go in, but the landlord's first words when she sees them are,
No pets.
The plane had just taken off. The captain was chatting with the co-pilot about what to eat for lunch, when suddenly, another plane came straight at them. The captain was sucked out of the hole. Luckily, a seat blocked the hole just in time, but the whole plane was in chaos. The black cop looked at the hole in shock, but quickly pulled herself together and crawled to the cockpit. The co-pilot was badly hurt, but just before passing out, he managed to hit the autopilot button, letting the plane fly on its own. The cop tried to contact the control tower, but realized there was no signal. Surprisingly, her phone had service, so she called 911. The operator quickly transferred her to the control tower, and they got an expert to coach her on landing the plane.
I'm gonna land the plane!
The cop was shocked, but she had no choice. The expert told her to turn the plane around, using the control panel, but she couldn't find the right switch. A little boy pointed.
This one!
And the plane finally turned around.